Public inquiry timing. What might it be? What might be in the government's minds? What lessons should we be learning now? My name's Mike Cashman, political satirist, writer, commentator, and I will at the end of this video say how you can get one of my books for free. But the public inquiry timing. Things have moved on within the last day or so. Boris Johnson has now announced spring 2022 as the start time for the public inquiry. His reason given for not starting earlier is that key people might be busy if there's an upsurge of cases in the winter. Now, there is no logic to this. If we look at what typically happens with a public inquiry, you set it up, need to appoint a chair and other staff, define and agree the terms of reference, also establish your facilities and resources and that sort of thing, place from which to operate. All that takes some time. It's only after that that you can seriously start investigating, inquiring, and you usually start off, in my experience, with written evidence, because you want to look at the written stuff before you start questioning people so that you're well informed. And there's plenty of written evidence. Now, government is completely prepared for this. Right from the start of the pandemic, politicians, advisors, civil servants have been well aware that a public inquiry is coming. And, in that circumstance, I've been in that circumstance, you make sure that you do your filing properly. You should be doing that anyway, but you do make sure of that. There may be communications in WhatsApps and texts and so on that are significant, that are in no other form. There should not be, because if it's significant, it should be in a more permanent form. But, okay, individuals can reveal that sort of information. The point is that from the start of the inquiry, it will be quite a long time before there's any oral evidence taken. So there is no reason not to start now. Significant progress could be made through 2021, through this time when, as it happens, the number of cases is low. And, potentially we could be a year further ahead. In the worst case, if necessary, then certain aspects could be put on hold for a short while. But an inquiry has got considerable flexibility as to the sequence in which it takes witness statements. So there is really no argument to say we cannot start now. Why might the government be saying we don't want to start now? Initially, I was thinking, they don't want to have the report coming out before the next general election. And, almost certainly with the timing they're talking about, they wouldn't be. I think they might be actually aiming for more than that. We've currently got spring 2022 as a start time, but with a footnote that the reason for that start time is based on concern about a lot of cases in the winter. So the government has got a little bit of a get-me-out to argue for at least a short postponement during 2022. They can drag their feet a bit on that and on the appointment of a chair, have a bit of controversy about that, have a bit of delay about that. They might actually be able to arrange things so that there is no oral evidence given before the next general election, particularly if the general election is going to be brought forward, as seems extremely likely given that they wish to repeal the Fixed Term Parliament Act. So that, I think, may be what's at stake, trying to avoid Boris Johnson and others being in a position of having to give evidence at that public inquiry before the next general election. And I think it's possible that they might achieve that. Now, if they are hell-bent on postponing lesson learning for electoral reasons, and that's wholly to be condemned, we ought to be having the inquiry as soon as possible. Firstly, so that we can learn lessons, and secondly, so that the oral evidence is taken while the memories are reasonably fresh. Matt Hancock, a few weeks ago, seemed to have already forgotten that we ran out of PPE. We've had various weasel words from him subsequently trying to defend it, but I don't think he'd like to make that statement to the people who were without PPE and for the lack of it catching coronavirus. Some of them died, obviously. But we're not going to see that public inquiry in 2021. But lessons need to be learned. We're in a situation now where cases are low, but there is a new and highly infectious variant or variants. This is exactly the circumstance for which we should be doing what Independent Sage has been recommending, which is backward contact tracing. So you don't just deal with the contacts of the person who has been tested positive, but you try and work out where that person contracted COVID from. And also testing of close contacts. The government requirement is just that they isolate. But if you test with a PCR test, then you can rapidly find out the extent of the infection and where it's going. Because, and this is what the successful countries have done, if you can target your efforts on where you need to contain the outbreak, then you don't need to have so many broad brush lockdowns that stop everybody and stop the economy. Now, I'm not able to say this totally on the basis of being any sort of epidemiological expert. I can't even say the word properly myself. But I do follow Independent Sage, who do come up with a lot of good advice. I've got an interest in this from having been closely involved and administered the budget for all the ambulances and burials, the eradication of Ebola in Sierra Leone, the way we were trying to stop infection there, and aware of the way that close contacts were traced. And key lesson from Independent Sage, we had presentations a couple of weeks ago from Leicester and Newham, where local public health was much more effective than the national outsourced test and trace. They were able to use local knowledge, bring in a surge capacity, a large number of people already employed by the local authority who knew the area, who could walk the streets, who could knock on doors if they weren't getting responses to phone calls. So local public health, again, a key lesson to be learned. All this information is available by following Independent Sage. And if you haven't tuned into them, they're on, if you look at it for Independent Sage on Facebook, 1:30 on a Friday, every Friday, you have latest facts and figures, very well presented, highlighting what are the key things to be aware of, and question and answer. So do follow Independent Sage. Okay, I said I'm a commentator. There isn't any subscription or call for support for watching any of the videos, but I started off this whole thing on a satirical vein. Kind of fairly briefly, I've written 3 books, one of which is arguably a 5-act COVID musical. You have to laugh or you cry. The others are about Brexit. The music beautifully sung on CD and available on USB by Leon Berger of English National Opera, Zena Wigram, soprano, John Asher, Tiswas, many others. Very simply, in May, if you buy the music, you can buy it on CD, sorry, I've just knocked the camera, or on USB, then if you send an email to info@viewdelta.com on the day that you purchase, if you've purchased it from Amazon or Etsy, then if you're buying the music, I will stick in, because I dispatch from here, a free book, the book of the lyrics. It'll either be the book that goes with the music that you've bought, or if you want another one, if you want a different book, you can't have 2, but you can have 1 book per each music bought, whether you buy it on CD or USB, then just put that in the email. but I'm going to give you a keyword if you've got it from watching this video, because I want to see which means gets to people most. So the keyword for this is based on the Public Inquiry Nightmare song, which you'll find is the final song in I Don't Beg Pardon. So the keyword is nightmare. So if you email info@viewdelta.com, the keyword of or an email title of free book nightmare, then you'll get your free book. But do it on the day that you make your purchase at Amazon or Etsy. And you can find all the stuff there by searching in Amazon or Etsy for View Delta. Do it on the same day, otherwise it's too late. The the music will already have gone out to you, and the way that you get the free book is it goes in the same package. So that's just for May 2021. If you're watching after that, sorry, offer's over, limited availability. Thanks for watching. If this has been useful or interesting, do subscribe to the channel. So there's a channel on YouTube called I Don't Beg Pardon, and there is another channel which has got everything related to my first two books in, so including everything about the musical, but it uses the title Brexit's a Trick, Not a Treat as the YouTube channel. I haven't put any apostrophes in, so you don't have to put those in while you're searching. Okay, that's a free book offer for May, but also do subscribe to the channels. Thank you. I'll leave you with these posters. This one is because there's a sketch in the I Don't Beg Pardon musical, When Shall We Three Tweet Again? Beautifully declaimed by Rachel Swan.